like the second. Oh, we have to find the check. Now my wife had it.
And live. It's a little bit of your size, I think. I'll move the. Do that from the other side. Make my life easy. There you go. Cool. A little more your size, right? Yeah. Works the same way. It's just a lot smaller. Doesn't go quite as fast. Yeah, no, the turn it on is this one right there. So that actually shuts it off. So, well, it shuts off the kill the engine. This, yeah. There you go. That is a key. What's that? I race it. No, it's a road race bike. No, if there's a drag bike, it'd have a extended swinger. It's a Benelli PNC 135. I didn't know they made it. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, it's fun. I bought it as a pit bike, and then decided that, and then discovered there was a race class for it. I mean, so, momentum racing. Like, oh yeah. Oh yeah. Out on steroids. Yeah, because this thing only does, it has a top speed of about 75. Oh, so you're smoking the groms out there. Oh yeah, groms. Let's hear the groms. That's about all of it. Dude, I can't imagine that's like I mostly like country bike. Yeah. 2008 or 14. Oh my God, that's a lot of motorcycles. It's too much.
Okay.
I just got my hand up there.
Nice. Great motorcycle.
I'm gonna need like I see that.
Oh yeah. Dude, it doesn't matter. It's you motorcycle. Do what you have to do. Ninja 300. So, which is also basically a quarter speed bike.
Yeah, you too.
You know.
Yeah. Squeeze in God.
It's
Hey, Ben, it's good to meet
My
you.
dog.
Yeah.
I'm here, so real time. I'm getting a package once I want it. I am not out of this one.
It's better.
I can't imagine like road racing. I like to volunteer.
Oh yeah.
One of my favorite things to do, but so real. I can't imagine racing once.
I can't imagine not doing it.
Fair enough.
I've been at it. I mean, but I've also been at it since 1989. So,
I imagine if I start, I'll stop being able to watch it.
yes, that is absolutely.
I can't even.
This can.
Sure. Okay, John Clue is walking in. He's so darn good. He can race walk in.
And we're working as a group of men in this company. Also, he's got so they're homemade biscuits, ham, next, some country ham. Excellent. We got to go on this morning. Welcome back to the and who's the first time visitor today? First time visitor. We got everybody else is to, okay, so we usually start out anytime, but we kind of extend it, and then for those of you that can do, you're gonna get an opportunity to speak for about 30 seconds. I'll speak about what's the best for all sources, how we can help you as a community. And then typically we would go along, we'd go around the crew and introduce everybody. But again, we got our speaker, my man over here, Tom Close, to be speaking today. So first and foremost, let's say mission statement. That's right. That's how we started out. Inspiring local professionals to grow their businesses through building relationships, sharing best practices, providing market insights, social community gatherings, and fun. And we get shit done. We're getting shit done right here, right now. All right, folks. You folks right here. Did I see you raise hands? Come on in. Come on up. Come on up. You were sick, so I just went with it. We're running behind. We don't have time for that. Come on in.
You just got A's.
This is a totally separate meeting, so please introduce yourself, sir.
There it is. I'm Jason in the Restoration Services. I just moved here from Nashville, Tennessee. My best referral source as of yet is going to be Google Ads, 33 Mile. Other than that, I'm just trying to shake some hands and get to know some people.
Hi, everybody. I'm Kelsey Long. I'm with Royal Flush Plumbing. I also just moved here actually from Snellville. That's where we're headquartered. I moved to the Ackworth and Woodstock area. So my best referral source would also be joining clubs and groups and organizations like this. So I'm really excited to be a part of it, to meet everybody.
Awesome.
Hey, if you're the first timer, why don't you just go up there?
Yeah, come on up, Rudy. Let me take charge. Good morning. Good morning.
Alvin, I'm with the rest of the pros. I'm going to watch. That's the connection I'm going to make here. My best referral sources are plumbers. And I also do restoration. I also do basically anything water related in the home. Crawl spaces, basements, erosion control. So it's not just water remediation, it's also sometimes solid water ventilation stuff. And I want to do that too. Interior, exteriors, and but I love my plumbers. Give me all your plumber contacts. Thank you.
Hi, everybody. I'm Joshua Catteron. We're with Green Horizons. We're a professional landscaping service. Our best referral sources is social media marketing right now. But we are looking for HOAs, small entrances, commercial lots, and residential areas. Thank you.
Oh, like I said, we're Green Horizons. For us right now would be like you said, HOAs, any new install, like for the exterior. Right now, what we've been using is basically social media networking, charity connects, just the local groups, stuff like that, trying to venture out, trying to grow our business a little bit. Appreciate it.
All right. Welcome. All right. Any other first-time visitors? That's right. Red Lee.
Hi, I'm Shelley. I'm the area manager for Red Wing Shoes here in Woodstock and Roswell. Lisa, who is the assistant store manager for our Woodstock store. Right now, our best source of referral is our clients. They come in, they refer us back to their safety managers and their businesses, and we try to work with them to get excellent discount programs going so that everybody who's in an industry where they need great safety boots, ones that they can afford. We also have lifestyle boots, and we're trying to build some visibility around that by reaching out to groups like this.
Red Wing is awesome.
Rapping. Couple people rapping. All right, anybody else? Any other first-time visitors? All right, guys, round of applause for our first-time visitors. Guys, John Cloden, you've been with the Woodstock Business Club really probably about since day one.
Pretty much.
So we've watched you pull in your bikes before, but I certainly have never seen you race one-handed. I'm looking forward to hearing all about all the different opportunities that the itty bitty racing community has. Come on up, John Clunan.
So, hey, my name is John Clunan. I am the lead rider and team manager for the Itty Bitty Racing Committee. I hope you're enjoying your breakfast. Those biscuits came out of my oven about 45 minutes ago. But I'm really here, well, it looks like I'm here to talk about racing. I mean, I brought bikes and all that stuff. I'm actually, I want to tell a little different story. So I'm a single dad, and I want to tell all you parents in the room a secret to having an amazing relationship with your child from pretty much birth to adulthood. And that is shared passion. Find something that you're both into.
Hey, John.
Yes.
Mike's a little better close to your mouth. There you go.
Yeah, hold it up there.
Oh my God.
My arm's gonna get tired. You know, I've only got one arm, man. Anyway, single dad, find a shared passion, introduce your child to that passion, make it accessible for them, and then go do it with them at every opportunity. So this, while it's about racing, is more the story of that secret. Ooh. No, I'm not gonna play this with guitar. This is not fun. Hey, there we go. That one. So, if you've seen me present here before, you know that I came back to racing after a fairly long hiatus a few years ago, and there was some hardship involved. I had a really gnarly divorce. It left me pretty much financially ruined. I went through cancer. My two best friends who got me into motorcycling in the first place both died, not in motorcycle accidents, by the way. But I went ahead and did it anyway, because this is something I'm absolutely passionate about, and I was missing it in my life. Also, Randy Back from Studio Lens, I made a movie about it, a 37-minute documentary. Who knew? That's available on YouTube. It's called Back to the Track. Well, that was about 5 years ago. But in the meantime, while all that stuff was happening, I'm going to give this thing another shot. There was a parallel plot going on. And that plot started in 2003 with the birth of my daughter Annie, who you see here on the screen. And straight talk, y'all, I was a reluctant dad. I did not want to. Wasn't into it. But Annie's mom, who I'm no longer with, those two things aren't related, convinced me to have one child because she wanted to have a kid before she turned 40. And we just made the cut. I mean, so Annie's mom was 39 when Annie was born. And to be straight up, it was really the best thing that ever happened. Yes, I used to have hair once, by the way. Another weird thing is so I was always a believer that like the gender of your child is the last great mystery in your life. So we didn't find out what Annie was going to be until she popped out. And all through that time frame, I was like, I really want a son, because I'm kind of a guy's guy. I'm a gearhead, I'm a lunkhead. I just didn't know what I was going to do with a daughter. I'm like, I don't know anything about that. But about maybe a year later, I was like, what would I have done with a boy? Oh my God. So I was still racing when Annie was born. And she spent a lot of her mom was a caterer. So she spent a lot of time with me, hanging out in the garage, getting ready to go to the track, actually going to the track with me, as you can see here. And around 3 years old, she started asking me when she could get a motorcycle. Shocking, right? So I laid down a challenge, the first challenge in a series. I told her, when you're 6, you can get a motorcycle if you can ride a bicycle, which she learned to do at the racetrack, by the way. That's Talladega Grand Prix Raceway right there, where she's riding around the track. But if she could ride a bicycle and she could pass the MSF dirt bike school, which they will take a kid as young, that's the earliest they will take a kid is 6 years old. Well, challenge accepted and beat. So she did all those things. So I bought her this little pink Yamaha PW50, and which she of course outgrew. And then we started renting dirt bikes at the dirt bike park. And we rode together at every opportunity. Like I said, I'm a single dad, so I didn't know if, she wasn't with me all the time. But like, that's kind of what we did was, oh, Andy's here, let's go ride. And we bonded over those challenges. The mud, the crashes, drowning the motorcycles, which actually was my thing more than hers. Breaking bikes. We once had to go find a broken rental bike that we just lost. And it just was in the woods somewhere, and it took us a good hour to find the damn thing. But the other thing is that the nearest dirt bike park was 2 hours away. And so I got to spend all this time just hanging out with my child and talking and laughing and joking and listening to music. And I really feel like I got to know my daughter during those trips. So this is her 11th birthday. She got her first or her second very own dirt bike. And then over time, the bikes got bigger and faster, and and there were more and more of them. And we started a pattern of, hey, Dad, I need another motorcycle. Okay, yeah, that's a thing. But I was so lucky because I had a teenage daughter who wanted to hang out with me. How many dads in the room have that going on? Even in high school, by the way. So she got a street license, and I had to make good on another promise, which was, so when she was, I don't know, 11 or 12, and she got her first dirt bike, she's like, wow, how about a street bike? I'm like, oh, yes, absolutely. But the promise I made to her was that if she got her street motorcycle license, that I would buy her first bike for her, but I got to pick it. Which prevented the thing that I see with a lot of young people, particularly young men, but young people in general, where they go out and they buy the baddest, fastest thing they can get, and best case scenario, they never really learn to ride it very well because it's hard to tame that beast. Worst case scenario, they die or get hurt bad. So I was trying to prevent that scenario. So I took control of the situation. Annie got her street license, and I bought her I think that was the 5th motorcycle I bought the child at that point. So started college, brought the bike to campus, but realized very quickly she didn't have any time to ride. Probably because she finished her undergrad in 3 years, so she was a busy girl. And she was also in the city. She was at Agnes Scott College in Decatur, and the city and college and all that just meant no time to really go ride. So sophomore year, we sold that bike. With a little encouragement from Dad going, that bike has been sitting in the parking lot at Agnes Scott for 6 months. So it's not going to be there much longer if you leave it there. So Annie graduated, moved to DC, and I was still racing. And 2024 was the 3rd season of my return to racing, and I was having a ball. I think I spoke here actually that time again, and I was also doing pretty well. I won by the beginning of 2024. I had won 4 regional championships. So I was doing pretty well, and I bought this motorcycle beginning of the year of 2024, mainly as a pit bike. And for those of you who don't understand what a pit bike is, that means you use it to ride around the paddock because motorcycle paddocks tend to be big places. So you use it as a get around bike. And then I discovered something really goofy is that these little tiny motorcycles have their own race classes. So I'm like, hell yeah, let's go. And we went to racing. And just a note, if you look closely at that picture, you'll notice I'm dressed as a Domino's delivery driver because that's how seriously we take the mini class. Often people do it in costume or a very common one is in a tutu. My tutu is pink, by the way, in case you're wondering. So we don't, so this is a fun class that a lot of, that we don't take terribly seriously. But then I got thinking about something. It's like, hey, I have an opportunity here to recapture some of that time with my adult daughter, who's now 21 and living in DC and working for the University of Maryland as a researcher. So I threw down challenge number 2, which was fly home on a race weekend, come to the track with me, take the 30-minute race school for the mini class, which literally is, which by the way, I taught that school, and race the Benelli one time. Well, that challenge was accepted, and she was hooked, which was kind of the plan all along, of course. So she was hooked. She did not miss a race last year. She flew home from DC once a month to hang out with Dad and go do this. And she had a pretty successful season for her rookie season. She won 1 race. She took second 3 times. She had 1 third place. She placed in the top 3 in 2 regions. And she came in 3rd place nationally in her class. So, the apple doesn't fall too far from the tree. She did pretty well. I didn't do too bad either. I won 4 races. I took second 8 times. I took third 4 times, which, by the way, that is 16 total podium finishes, which is more than half the races that I entered. I won 2 regional championships, and I came in second in another region. But here's the best part. Once a month, that young woman right there flew home to spend time with her dad. And the drives are even longer now because the closest racetrack is 2 hours and the longest one is about 7 hours away. And we get to do this thing that we both love together, and we've created this common bond around racing. And we share this amazing sport and that drive time. I get to hear what my adult daughter's doing with her spare time in a 7-hour trip to Kershaw, South Carolina, which, by the way, if you don't know where Kershaw is, it ain't nowhere. Dan knows, of course. And all through these years, we had always been close, but I think we're even getting closer now. So the 2025 season has begun. Our first race was in February, and if you might have noticed, or actually, Darren mentioned racing one-handed, well, that ain't a thing. I am incapacitated at this time. Yes, this is the result of a racing accident. I broke my collarbone in 2023 when some dumbass hit me in practice at Road on Road and high-sided me off the bike. It never healed properly. I discovered that actually in the middle of the race season last year, and I just raced through the rest of the season. And yes, I raced with it broken for the entire 2024 racing season. So my daughter looked at me and says, "Well, so Dad, you can't race this year." Oh, because my orthopedist also told me that once the sling is off, she looked at me after the surgery. I don't think it was a full minute after I was awake, and she looked at me and she said, "Do not get on a motorcycle." It was like, "For how long?" It's like, "Until November." Yeah, so I'm down for the game. So Annie looked at me and says, "Dad, you can't race this season." I'm like, "Yeah? What do you think about me racing your motorcycle?" Well, you may know that so my race number is 668. And you may know that 668 is not a mirror on any of these motorcycles at this time. And also, this is a yellow plate bike, which means it's a novice bike rather than an expert bike now. So Andy is now going to be racing this motorcycle. She has some goals. There's a Royal Enfield, the motorcycle manufacturer does a program called Build Train Race, where they bring in 24 women to learn to build a motorcycle, to get trained in racing by Freddie Spencer, the 3-time world MotoGP champion, and then to race with the pros for 8 races with Moto America. And that's a 2-year contract. And at the end of it, they get to keep the bike. Annie wants to do that program. She applied for it last year. She did not get in, and she felt like part of that was because the only experience she had racing was on the mini bike. And she says, so if I get the big bike and I race that, maybe I'll get into VTR. I went, fine, you'll get a race the big bike. So thus begins the 2025 Inherited Chaos Tour. So Annie's first race weekend was at the end of February. And I want to talk a little bit about that parental elephant in the room that I might have alluded to here, which is, a lot of parents have looked at me and said, how do you let your kid do that? It's got to be horrifying. And because people think that I throw Annie on the bike, she gets out there, and I'm good. Oh my God, y'all, it's terrifying. I mean, this is a high-risk activity. I mean, I can tell you this from personal experience. And every time the kid rides up on the motorcycle, I'm absolutely terrified. However, I love this sport, and so does she. And we don't believe here in living in fear. You go do the things and you mitigate the risk to the best that you can. Because well, she might die. I'm like, yeah, that would be, yes, absolutely. She might die, but she'll die doing something she loves. And she can also slip and fall in the bathtub and hit her head. I think she'd rather go out this way. So just as an FYI, I do actually care and am absolutely horrified when my daughter gets on the racetrack. But I still pay for it and let her do it. I don't think I could not let her do it. She probably would let it. So this was a photo from her first race. The orange t-shirt is because she's what they call provisional novice. This was her first race. And for the first 2 races, you have to complete 2 races without crashing to get rid of the orange t-shirt. It's basically going, watch out for me. I really don't quite know what I'm doing. So about maybe since it was lap 3, about a minute after this photo was taken, Annie crashed in the fastest part of the racetrack. She was probably doing between 85 and 95 miles an hour. I was standing on the inside of that corner watching. She had to do it right in front of Dad. I was watching. It sucked. Bike went flying. Parts were flying everywhere. Kid slid on her face for about 60 feet across the racetrack and then started flying. It was a gut punch, y'all. And the only thing that kept me from leaping over the fence and running over across the track is knowing that the only thing I was going to do was slow down the process if something actually happened to her. They won't roll an ambulance if some dumbass spectator is on the track. And I would have been that dumbass spectator. But everything stopped moving. The bike came to a rest, and so did she. And she stood up, gave a thumbs up to the corner worker, and then looked over at the inside of the track where me and a bunch of our friends were standing, and she took a theatrical bow. Thus proof that that is my child. Y'all, I did not think that motorcycle was going to. So this was on Saturday, and we were supposed to race again on Sunday. We're actually supposed to race again later that afternoon. I didn't think we were going to get this bike back together. It was pretty much a disaster. Annie broke a clip-on, and if you don't know what a clip-on is that's one of these things. She broke a clip-on. She broke the shift rod. She tore the sensor out of the wires out of the sensor on the quick shifter. She shattered the windscreen. totally screwed the bodywork, bent the front fairing stay, so the bike just looks like it was going left, no matter which direction the front wheel was going. Destroyed the tail section. The tail section, which you've seen here a couple times probably by now, was in 3 or 4 pieces. Let's see what else. Oh, and her helmet, because of course she slid 60 feet on her face. But this is where I want to talk about the people I race with. The racing community are the best people on earth. I have seen a professional race rider loan a $40,000 race motorcycle to somebody else in his class so they can keep racing because they either crashed out or had a mechanic. I have seen engines rebuilt overnight in the paddock by people who really could have used the sled. I have personally safety wired novices bikes because they didn't know they had to do that to pass TAC the next morning. We've shared food, we've shared everything. We are truly a community. And probably the best example of that is when I first injured this shoulder and I broke that collarbone. I was transported to the hospital and they stuck me in a sling, handed me some Vicodin and kicked my ass out the door. I was only gone maybe 2 hours. I took an Uber back to the track. I got back to the track and my trailer was loaded and all my gear was loaded up in my car ready to go. I didn't say a word to anybody. They just knew I had been transported and that I probably wasn't going to be racing that for the rest of that weekend. And they made sure that I didn't have to lift a finger. I literally got in the car and drove them. And that's the way the race community is. They will do anything for you. So I love these people. I truly love them. And because of them, they put the bike back together, basically. A lot of them donated, or like loaned us tools and donated parts. And this guy named Doug built a shift rod out of the leftover parts that we had and some things that he had in his toolkit. But with zip ties and duct tape and a lot of other people's love and help, we got the bike back together, which was pretty amazing because I didn't think that shit was going to happen. And Andy was ready to race on Sunday. Sunday was a little more favorable. She won the race on this bike, and she came in second on that bike. So, not a bad day. Yeah, little love to the kid's success, right? So, but you might be asking yourself, why am I here? Why is John here? Why are you telling this story? This doesn't have anything to do with business, does it? Right? I mean, it's a good story. I think it's a good story. I mean, well, just as an FYI, thanks to the loving care of Ms. Shannon Scully here, the Itty Racing Committee is an LLC. We are a business. It's a business that loses a shit pile of money every year. I don't even want to talk about that a lot. And we can't do this without sponsorship. We just can't. It's not possible. It's the sport is not doable, basically self-financed unless you're a lot more affluent than I. So I want to recognize, in fact, I think the only sponsor in the room is Shannon. I'd like to recognize Shannon Scully, who's been a sponsor now for the last 2 years. You can see her line down here. And big letters on the side of the motorcycle. But we've had sponsors. I mean, some of our sponsors have been with us, pretty much since inception. Business Radio X, Bain Point, Alpha and Omega, Studio Lenza have all been with us really since the beginning. So why would you do this, right? Well, one, you might just be a nice person and think this is fun, which, hey, rock on. But racing is exciting and it's technical and it embodies a lot of great attributes that people want to be associated with their business. It's speed and strength and courage. And we celebrate our achievements as your achievement. Like if we win, you win. And there's also one other quick thing that you won't read on this slide here, which is I've been in marketing for coming up on 30 years. I have owned 2 marketing agencies. I have been a professor of marketing at Shorter University. I'm currently a marketing executive at a digital marketing agency, having sold my last agency. And what does that mean is I have the experience and expertise to ensure that you're going to get return on investment out of a sponsorship dollar. I'm not expecting you to do this as a gift. I want you to get something back. We create value. So you're going to be seen in a bunch of places. On ittybitty.racing.com, sponsor logos are on 2 pages. One, the home page, literally right below the header image or the header video. And then there's a sponsor dedicated page where there's descriptions and links and all kinds of stuff. So it's great for your SEO. You will find you will be mentioned on Facebook, on Instagram, on LinkedIn, because I mentioned we are a business. So we have a LinkedIn company page. You will be on YouTube, mentioned potentially on YouTube, on Threads, on my personal. We don't have a itty bitty racing Threads. I tend to repost a lot of it on my personal. You might be heard on our podcast on Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts. Of course, on the motorcycle, which, by the way, like the sticker on the motorcycle, people are like, yeah, I got a sticker on the side of the motorcycle. Yeah, that motorcycle sits in an open trailer for close to 6,000 highway miles every year. And, and I don't know if you know, but my vehicle takes gas. And every time we stop for gas, somebody comes and asks about the bike. So you get an exposure there. So all over the Southeast. And then on the podium, most of our races have a Facebook Live broadcasted podium ceremony where we mention the sponsors. So there's a lot of opportunity for you to get value out of this. This chart, this is a really complicated chart that nobody needs to read. It shows the costs and the benefits of costs and what you get out of it. But I want to make 3 short key points on this chart. One is if you are a person, not a company, so you're a solopreneur operating under your own thing, or you're an influencer, or you just want to do something cool and have your name on the side of a motorcycle on a website, $50. We will recognize you as an individual sponsor. If you're a corporation, same thing, $150. By the way, you can't pay an influencer, a micro influencer, for a single post at those price points. And if you are at the $250 level, which is our most popular level, you will get mentioned, and you will get at least 12 mentions out of the. And we usually blow that out of the water because I like to think I'm grateful for the people who sponsor our team. Oh, the third point was if you would like this race team to be the mortgage right itty bitty racing committee, hand us $5,000 and we'll do that.
Rates are up, John.
What's that?
Rates are up right now.
I know. Next year, maybe next year. So.
Money is just an idea, Dad.
Money? That had to be Andy Robinson. Yes. There are other ways to help without becoming a sponsor. You can buy merch. We have a merch store at ittybitty.racing.com/cool-merch. You can buy a sticker from me today. They're $3 a piece or 2 for $5. They are the Itty Bitty Racing logo or this logo on this t-shirt. And by the way, this shirt is also available in the merch store. We will also take any funding you are willing to give. You want to hand me $20 before I walk out the door? I'll do that. Hey, you gotta pay for gas sometime, man. Also, there are non-monetary ways. Right. Follow us on social media. I just mentioned a lot of platforms we're on. I'm going to give you the lists in the next slide here. And because that creates more engagement, it creates more value for our sponsors. I think we put out some fun stuff. You can listen to our podcast on Spotify. If you want to hear my lovely daughter's voice and see her face, you can listen to the 2 of us banter on the way to the racetrack or on the way back, or interviewing guests. We have or current episodes. I know we're on Spotify, and I think we are on syndication, so you can find the Itty Bitty Racing podcast wherever you get your podcasts. And finally, come see a race, y'all. And very quickly, I want to talk about this briefly, the difference between going to a pro race and going to a club race. So you go to, this coming weekend is the first Moto America round of the season. It's at Barber Motorsports Park, which, by the way, is a track that we also race at. The photo of Annie coming across the finish line was there at Barber. And that pro race, if you want to go for one day, it will cost you $70. If you want to go both days, it's $140. And you will be allowed in spectator area. Which, by the way, Barber, the spectator area is pretty swag. But still, if you come to a club race, so we'll just say Barber. You come to a club race at Barber, it'll cost you $25 per person for the whole weekend. And short of actually getting on the motorcycle and riding laps around the track, you can go anywhere on it. You want to, you see something spectacular? You want to go talk to the racer? Go find him. He's in the paddock. You can go there. You want to hang out in the paddock and watch us do bike pro? You can do that. You want to watch us start from pit wall, which I highly recommend because it's amazing. You can do that. So anywhere I can go, you can go. It's short of, like I said, getting on the bike and running a few laps. So club racing is great value. The other thing is the racing. We get it. The big dirty secret of club racing is that there are a lot of pros racing at the club level for practice. So the racing is just as good and sometimes better. If you do go, don't miss a mini race because they're absolutely right. Your next chance to do that is not this coming weekend, but the following weekend. We'll be in Talladega. At Talladega Grand Prix in Alabama. That is not the NASCAR track. That is a sunny track in Oxford, Alabama. It's about 2 hours from here. Or the big one is we do 2 big events every year. One of them is the Grand National Finals at Barber Motorsports Park, but the other one is called Cycle Jam. It's at Road Atlanta on the 24th of May. This brings in national level racers. You'll see there are usually between 1,000 and 1,500 racers at this event. You can't find a parking space in the paddock. It's an absolute riot. The racing is truly spectacular, and Road Atlanta is one of the best places. It's one of my favorite spectator tracks. So come on out and see the race.
How do you get tickets?
You show up. You drive up to the gate and you say, "Let me in." That's it. That's the whole thing. Yeah, you just drive up to the gate of Road Atlanta, the security guard will take your $25 and give you a wristband.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, it's dude, come out to a race. It's amazing. So if you want to reach out, if you want to learn more about how you can support the Itty Bitty Racing team, or you just want to bench race with me because we're my yogurt, you absolutely do that. You can find us at ittybitty.com, on Facebook, on Instagram, on YouTube, on LinkedIn. You can email me at john@ittybitty.com. You can call me at the phone number on the screen, or you can come to a racetrack near you. Thank you all for your attention, and hopefully your support.
All right, thank you, John Clunan. Anybody have any questions for Mr. Clunan? Questions? Got a handful of questions. Curious about the duck.
Absolutely. This is
I
fine.
know about this duck.
Okay. Hold on. I need my mic back, I guess. This is Violet. Violet is the team mascot. I have a thing about rubber ducks. I was rubber duck way before rubber duck was chief. So this is Violet. She is our mascot. She's been with us for the last 4 years.
Yeah, 2 questions. Where do you find the club race schedule? And then 2, how did you come up with your name?
Oh, you'll love this. Okay, club race schedule, you can either go to wira.com or you can just go to my website, ittybitty.com. You will see the Southeast race schedule. It's right on the notepad. The name, so I used to race we used to race under the brand FIWAP Racing, which was an inside joke between my 17-year girlfriend and I. And she chose to leave this year, or this at the end of last year. So I was like, well, that inside joke is over, so let's rebrand the company. And my daughter and I were sitting in an airport, waiting for her flight to leave. And I was like, all right, we're going to rebrand the race team. What are we going to call it? And she's like, well, we race small bikes. I'm like, yeah, sure. She's like, and we're a small team. I'm like, yeah, there's two of us. She's like, how about the Itty Racing Committee? And we were done. That was it. Yeah, that was it. So, yeah, it was basically come up with by my daughter sitting in an airport line.
Any other questions?
Yeah, so I'm speaking for someone else.
Yes.
Is this riding the bikes or not riding other things is what caused the divorce?
I would ask the second part.
I am not going to comment on item number 2.
Thank you for interjecting, Rudy.
Yes.
Back on a serious note, let me ask you this. So you got a marketing background. When, I'm just relating it to like my golf tournament, right? To get sponsors, we're trying to provide a return on sponsorship.
Correct.
How do you, as a professional, track that?
Oh, I love that question. So I'm one of those creepy marketers who know everything about you. I know it's scary, but it's the truth. So if you go to the ittyracing.com website, I know it. I can tell you from where you came. I can tell you where you went afterwards. I can tell you if you came from one of our ads. If you call that phone number, I can tell you like where you clicked on that phone number if you did it on your mobile device. And so I have data through the entire stream. We also, and so if somebody clicks on, say Shannon's link on the website, I can tell her that, hey, somebody clicked through from Itty Bitty Racing Committee to your site. Or if somebody clicks through on one of our social posts, I can do that too. So I can prove the return on investment through lots and lots of digital systems and the fact that I'm creative.
Do you provide reports for your sponsorships at all? I mean, is that something?
We never have. We've never had that request, but certainly that's something that would be very easy to do. It's, we use a system called agency analytics. And so I can tell you like full on, like what has happened with your sponsorship.
Is the sponsorship for annual sponsorship or a season sponsorship?
Season. It's a season, yeah. I mean, a season is an annual. We start racing in February and we race through till October. Grand National Finals are in October. Those tend to be, those are an invitational. You have to actually be invited to participate. I haven't missed a year yet. Hoping ending with the same experience.
How many races are in that season?
We race every month from February through September. And then, so February through October, right? So that's one race weekend every season, every month. Most race weekends are double headers. So you're probably talking 20, I think it's 22 races a season, something like that. So
$20 a race, that's a deal.
I was going to say, you can't buy a social mention. You can't buy one social mention at our price point. You just can't. How do I know this? I do it every damn day. Because we spend a lot of money with influencers. Seth?
Are any of the races live stream, or are you thinking about streaming any of them in the future?
I have never thought about that. The podium ceremonies are live streamed by the sanctioning body back here. We are allowed to have cameras on the bikes. So you may have opened up you should do that, can of worms for me. So, because on-track footage is sick, by the way. Yes. And if you go through some of our Instagram, you'll see some of our on-track footage.
Get a GoPro.
Yeah, oh yeah, exactly. Yeah. But if I can figure out how to stream the GoPro, anyway, it doesn't matter. But no, great idea, Sid. So,
Any other questions? Any other questions? Mr. John Clunin. John Clunin, round of applause. And we also want to remind everybody and thank John, we had to actually implement rules about standing on furniture due to John Clooney a couple of years back. So you can no longer stand on tables or chairs that Reformation owns anymore. So thanks, John, for that. All right, we have some time for some announcements, some shout outs, things of that nature. Rudy, you got something coming up, don't you?
Yeah, hey, guys. You know how I roll, but on May 3rd, I will be rolling at the Limitless 5K Disability Race. So come roll with a gig in it. Hey, the flyers are on the table. Sorry, Shannon. Go.
You should do that for Rudy's birthday because it's his birthday month.
And John's.
He's my older brother.
Are you?
Yes.
Hey, every year I host an after hours in April because it's my birthday. And this is my 5th or 6th, I've lost track. I invite multiple networking groups and I also open to my community which I live of 625 homes. It's at my clubhouse every year. We have over 100 people, food, drink, door prizes, music, fun. I have information here. It is April 24th. If you want more information, feel free to get a picture of the flyer or reach out to me and I can get more information as well. Thank you. Yes.
All right, hey y'all, it's Tammy. Tomorrow we have the Women of Wealth Networking Happy Hour over at Woodstock. And of course, our theme for this month is hashtag invest in her too. 4 p.m.
Good morning. We've got the Cherokee Association of Realtors golf tournament on Monday, April 7th. All proceeds go to Habitat for Humanity, and we do still have a couple spots, so not many. So reach out to one of us or I can add a link.
Also, a quick shout out to a few weeks ago, I had a big realtor event and I had it catered by the one and only Jay over here. The food was delicious. Oh my God. And we had very little leftovers that I took over to the police department and they tore that shit up or stuff up. I'm sorry. Forgot my audience.
Dr. Kelly Peterson here in the back from Wellness Oasis off of exit 11. For the month of April, we're putting together some package deals. We're going to have an upper cervical chiropractor, and I work with Dr. Don D'Ambrosio out there too. And also, we're going to be having an open house at the end of the month, probably the last Thursday, but I'll bring that date out once we know for sure.
Good morning, Dr. Stacey.